Okay, in this second video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, we're just going to have a look at what I've sketched already. So you can see there, guys, with nice light lines, I've built up the sketch using different geometries, and I've connected them together and so on. Okay, so what I need to do here next of all is I'm just going to ever so slightly heavy in the parts of the sketch that I want standing out. So two vertical sides, this curve down here, and guys, I'm using the same pencil here, and the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm just leaning a little bit heavier on the pencil. Okay, so this curve, this elliptical curve that comes around here also, try not to get it like so, dropping down these two vertical sides. So we're looking for one continuous heavy line here, and then finishing off by sketching in that bottom elliptical curve as well. Okay, so now this grain store stands out a little bit more. What I want to do next is I want to add some texturing to my sketch. Okay, and there are two types of texturing I'm going to focus on here in this. Number one is hatching and blending. So we'll start with those two first of all. So guys, I'm going to carry out some hatching on maybe the top part here. So let me just zoom in on the top part, the top of the cylinder. And hatching, guys, is simply using diagonal lines to add some texture to a surface. So I'm going to start hatching over here on the left hand side. But before I do that, if I just zoom out a little bit there again, I'm just going to presume that there's a light source shining from up here in the top right corner. So I'm just going to draw in my light source. This is just a little sketch of a sun. So we've light shining in this direction here, okay, down on my grain store. Alright, so this will be the brightest part of the grain store. Obviously the side closest to the sun is going to be the brighter part, and over this side should be a little bit darker. So we're going to have a go at that. So I'll start with some cross hatching here on the top part. So diagonal lines, a series of diagonal lines, like so. I'm just going to lighten them off towards the right hand side. And you can leave those diagonal lines in one direction only, but what I always like to do is I always like to continue with diagonal lines in the opposite direction also. And again, lighten them off as we move towards the right hand side. So I can add in more diagonal lines over here if you wish. So I want to make this look a little bit darker, so I'm just going to add in some more diagonal lines and kind of heavy across them. Okay, lean a little bit heavier on the pencil. Okay, so best results are if you keep these lines parallel. Okay, so that's my hatching technique, so nice and simple. On this part of the grain store here, this cone shape, I'm going to carry out a blending technique. So again, same pencil, I haven't switched pencils. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold the pencil sideways. Okay, so nice and kind of flat on the sheet. And I'm going to just add in some pencil strokes like so, starting off nice and heavy over here again, furthest away from the light source. So nice and dark and heavy. And as I move towards the right hand side, then I'm going to lighten off on the pencil strokes. Okay, and guys, you can see that I'm trying to follow the contour of the cone shape around the grain store itself. So nice and light over here. I might just darken this in another little bit. So the furthest away from the light source should be the darkest. And we're trying to create a smooth transition from dark to light as we move around the grain store. You get it right down to the bottom like that. And I'm going to heavy in this edge here if I want this to stand out as well for me. Okay, so that's hatching and blending, and that brings us to the end of this second video on this grain silo.